the era of private blockchains is here. And I don't mean privacy focused blockchains like what we used to mean in crypto up until a few months ago, just like Monero. Although we can't even call Monero private anymore, but that's a different topic. Now it's just full blown corporate owned commercial private blockchains. Some vertically integrated and some are credibly neutral. But nonetheless, they're all permissioned, they're all sort of censored to the extent. And now Google is going to be the biggest of them all, with them throwing their hat in the L1 ring, releasing their new Google Cloud Universal Ledger. And
And
with
didn't we talk about companies launching their L1s just the other week?
oh yeah, yeah, we did. I mean, yeah, I mean, we spoke about like Stripe and Circle launching their L1s just a couple of weeks ago, but yeah, now we have another L1 blockchain. So we actually have a few L1 blockchains that we have seen in the span of a few weeks here. And obviously, as you can see, I'm a bit salty here because as a crypto
Hmm.
native guy, the dream of a decentralized future is slowly slipping away. Um, but the thing is, I cannot be too mad at Google right now because okay, I will do this. Generally, I do the verdict at the end of the episode, but I will just say right out of the gate that I think Google is right. They have identified the right problems in both traditional finance and as well as in the crypto industry. And what it looks, the Google plan that I'm looking at, it looks actually quite sensible to me. Um, so let me break down in basically 4 points that Google has based the case for GCUL on. First of all, Google understands what stablecoin is capable of. Just in last year, stablecoin the total transaction processed in stablecoin was about $30 trillion. Obviously, 5 trillion of them was like
Hmm.
actually unique transactions, and then the other 25 trillions was mostly just wallets transaction sending you stablecoins between each other because of whatever reasons, right? And when you compare that with the Web2 industry, when you look at PayPal, they processed $1.6 trillion. Visa processed about $13 trillion. So this is almost a minuscule amount compared to the what the blockchain
Hmm.
uh, technology is capable of processing. 30 trillion is saying say setting the bar way too low, right? Because I'm pretty sure this year the number is going to double or triple easily. Uh, so Google understands this, Google has seen this, and Google wants a piece of the pie, just like Stripe and Circle did in their own way, right? Actually, what I will do is at the very end, I will do a comparison between Circle, Stripe, and what Google is doing. But let me just go one by one through Google's reasoning here. They have put out this whole article explaining what they have seen in the industry and why they're launching GCUL and why it's actually a far better product than what we have in the industry right now. So one of the problems that they have listed is the convenience cost. So if you look at the global card payment network, it's extremely expensive. Yeah, sure, it's easy to take out the card out of your wallet and just swipe it, but the business is paying anywhere from like 2 to 3% in fees in some areas. That's a huge chunk of money that is you are just simply paying out to a company for processing your payments. So Google has actually mentioned this example specifically of this hypothetical Walmart example. So imagine Walmart has a revenue of $700 billion, and assuming that they are paying about 1.5% on average fee processing every single transaction, that's about $10 billion in annual payment that they are only paying for fees. And Google is saying that with this GCUL thing, they will reduce their fee to something like $2 billion, which is obviously boosting their earnings per share and stock price by over 40%. So this is something that I think that Google is getting right, obviously, and more importantly, a company like Google has identified this issue and they have actively become a participant in the market right now. So, what do you think?
Yeah, what I'm thinking is, would businesses actually give up Visa and Mastercard if Google really cuts payment fees?
Uh, I mean, actually, it will be the other way around that Google and like Visa and Mastercard will start using Google's technology. You will start using this blockchain stack that Google is creating because in the very beginning I mentioned credibly neutral, and that's something that Google's head of Web3 I think mentioned a couple of days ago that uh, Circle will not use USDT's blockchain. Stripe wouldn't use some other company's blockchain, but every single company are welcome to use Google's enterprise structure, because it's going to be a very neutral platform that will be welcoming everyone with an open arm. So I don't see any reason that Visa and Mastercard won't start integrating if Google's blockchain infrastructure is actually truly the superior one, that they don't feel the need to create a native blockchain and start basically using a blockchain just like any other enterprise software that they subscribe to, right? So that's that. If you look at the reasons that Google has laid out, I believe they have identified every single one of them to be true in terms of the opportunity that we today have in creating this stablecoin infrastructure, right? But Google has also mentioned a few challenges that the stablecoin industry faces. The first one, obviously, being a regulatory and structural challenge, which is we have seen the Genius Act passed in the UK. The Genius Act passed in the US. We have seen MiCA with stablecoin provisions in Europe. We have seen Hong Kong, South Korea, China, as we discussed in the last episode, that all of them are considering a stablecoin. But the thing is, right now, still stablecoin is very much in a gray area in most of the world, and even in the most progressive financially progressive countries, they're just starting to roll out these pilots, pilot programs. So we are still looking at anywhere from 3 to 5 years before we have like clean regulatory frameworks that will essentially assure other companies to adopt stable coins.
And let's say in the future, if banks lose deposits to stablecoins, that means fewer loans and harder access to credit, right?
Yeah, that's actually one of the problems that Google has mentioned, is it's actively threatening banks. It's actually something that's happening recently is a lot of banks are trying to lobby the US government into changing or amending the Genius Act by adding additional provisions to basically stop stablecoin companies from giving you interest in this. Essentially, that's what it is. Like they already, the stablecoin companies already cannot pay like stablecoin holders interest. But what other stablecoin issuers and crypto platforms are doing is like pay you rewards for holding a certain amount of currency, like a certain amount of money in stablecoin. If you pay rewards, then that's not exactly interest, right? So that's a loophole that they're working on, and banks desperately want to close all of these possible loopholes, because the more lucrative it is to start saving and holding your money in stable coins, the more deposits that banks start losing out on. So that directly hurts their bottom line, right? So that's and it's an opportunity, but at the same time it's a problem, because banking is a multi-trillion-dollar industry, and like from the get-go, if you start pissing off people in the banking industry, how much of a future do you have? Or they will start simply manipulating some regulations or other, and like it's not an empty field. There are other competitors who has been in the market for decades, and they're not going to give up their position so easily. So like we would rather make friends than make enemies, but we'll see what happens, right? And then Google also mentioned fragmentation being an issue, which is true in crypto. We have been working on chain abstraction or interoperability for a long time. By long time, I mean like a few years, 3 to 4 years. In crypto, that's a long time, by the way. And we are nowhere near any credible or feasible scalable solution. Every single blockchain is stuck within its own ecosystem. Like EVM being the largest ecosystem that we have, but still, EVM ecosystem is where all of your like Ethereum and other Ethereum virtual machine compatible projects live. And then you have the Solana blockchain, Avalanche blockchain, Polygon blockchain, and it's just a mess. And if you have stable coins in one blockchain, you cannot simply just send it to another blockchain. So what happens is it's this fragmentation of liquidity. And if you look at the $30 trillion stablecoin transaction last year, 5 trillion was genuine transaction, and then other 25 trillion was just basically stablecoins going from one blockchain to another. Like some guy wants it in this blockchain to send a payment to one wallet, but he has it in a different in a different blockchain, right? So it's a continuous process of bridging and then getting it and then basically storing it somewhere else, and that's a major issue, fragmentation. So and Google says that like if you are using Google's blockchain, then the fragmentation isn't going to be an issue. It's going to be just one big umbrella that everyone else is welcome to use. So yeah, we'll see what it looks like. Essentially, from what I am reading, GCUL have a few interesting how should I put it, features, let's say. So what they're doing is it's like a ledger as a service, a sort of a platform that you can access with only one API. It's a stable and transparent in terms of fees. And what's most interesting is that you will have to pay the fees at the end of the month. Like they will invoice you all the transaction fees that you have done in a single month, and they will invoice you at the end of the month. So it's predictable. You can budget for it. It's not something that you have to pay upfront. It's not something that's arbitrary and depends on blockchain congestion and different things. And they are also going to make it KYC verified and compliant, depending on like what country you are in and what kind of stablecoin regulations that you have. It will be all of the compliance will be natively built in, and at the same time they're going to be using, like, you can code in this ecosystem with Python instead of using something like Solidity or Rust, which is actually a major plus, because a lot more coders know Python than they know Solidity, which is Solidity is the language of the Ethereum blockchain, right? So that makes it much more easy to navigate, actually. And then obviously this is Google, so it's going to be safe, it's going to be secure, it's not going to be threatened by minor, let's say, attacks and stuff like that. So yeah, this is just a small intro of where Google is right now with their GCUL program. And from what I'm seeing, they're going to roll out a larger pilot with later in 2025. Right now they have a controlled pilot that is they're doing in partnership with CME Group, and by 2026 we're going to have a full-blown Google L1, and we will see how that works, and let me, as I said, I wanted to a comparison between Google and Circle and Stripe. So I created it just to look at how these three are different, right? So for Google, it's they're saying that it's a credibly neutral infrastructure, meaning like everyone is welcome to use it. It's not going to be barricading anyone. Just like any company can use Google Cloud,
Right.
That's how you will be able to use this Google Universal Ledger. And for Tempo, it's obviously vertically integrated because Stripe wants to service its own merchant network. That's their primary goal. For Circle, it's also very similar. They want people who are already using USDC to remain within the USDC network and transact using Arc. And then you have got the target markets. Google's target market is actually pretty much everyone in the finance industry. If you are a bank, you are an exchange, you are an asset manager, you are a crypto company, everyone is welcome to use it. Whereas again, Stripe is mostly merchant focused. They're mostly dealing in enterprise payments. And for Arc, it's they're looking into stablecoin issuance and DeFi capital markets. So Google is trying to create this all-encompassing ecosystem, right? And that's actually the next reason why they're using Python smart contracts, because Python is much more accessible, as I said. Whereas for Tempo and Arc, it's EVM compatible Solidity. So you have got Python coders on one hand. You can hire any Python coders. You can basically work within your own stack, or you have to hire like blockchain developers who are experts at Solidity. Which one is easier?
Yeah, the Python ones.
Yeah, exactly. And then you have got the key differentiator here is the Google is vendor agnostic. Everyone is welcome, whereas Stripe has its own target audience and Arc has its own audience. In terms of governance, I will say all three of them look very similar. Even though Google says like we are going to be neutral, at the end of the day, the decision maker is going to be Google itself. Just as Stripe will make its own decisions and Arc will make its own decision, I don't think there is any space for validators or any independent third party node runners here. So yeah, and then in terms of regulatory stances, again, it's going to be very similar because Google will be compliant, Stripe will be compliant, Arc will be compliant. So I don't see see them being too different in these cases. But ultimately, the key differences are Stripe wants its own wants its own walled garden. Circle wants its own walled garden, whereas Google wants to welcome everyone with open hands. That's what we're looking at.